From the minute your film walks in the room, it's doomed, cause this is the place where you go. If your film was crap and made no sense, you won't sit on the fence, it's getting burnt in his show. Cinematic Venom, cinematic Venom, cinematic Venom, it's cinematic Venom.
With that musical madness out of the way, here we are now in October, so I thought it'd be fitting if I reviewed the entire Halloween series, 1 through 8 of the original films, and then plus the 2 remakes. So let's get right into it, starting with the 1978 classic, John Carpenter's original Halloween. What can I really say about this film that hasn't already been said? It's a classic. If you want a scare, I wouldn't actually recommend watching this because, quite frankly, though it has aged well, to today's standards, it won't be classified as scary. But for 1978, it sure as hell is. The music is perfect and the tension is impeccable. It really gets you caught up in it. And to be perfectly honest, though it's not that scary anymore, it's not laughable. You know, like Psycho, scary for its time, but now... yeah, sorry Hitchcock. Jamie Lee Curtis as the main role, I actually do have a problem with. Now, she's a good actress now, but this was her first movie, and, well, it's hard to say. Her acting was good, except for when she discovers the bodies. I've seen a lot worse, but this acting, it just annoys me. This is laughable. Donald Pleasence was awesome as always. It's just so good. You can nitpick a bunch of petty things like, how does Michael carry a gravestone around town without being noticed, and the kids acting is shit. But overall, this film is great, and at the time definitely one of the best, if not the best, horror films out there. Even the cliffhanger ending was thrilling and suspenseful. But then we go to the much anticipated but yet controversial 1981 sequel, Halloween 2. The reason I say this is controversial is because, well, it's really not liked by a lot of people. It does have its problems. It really shouldn't have taken place in the same night. I find it odd why it took them 3 years to put this out too. It was really obvious they were doing a sequel, and if it's set in the same night, why take 3 years? Whatever. Stupid idea. Now, I actually do think this film has its suspense. It does. Not as much as the first one, but it does. Jamie Lee Curtis's acting actually did improve, though she just lied in bed for most of the film. Lazy bitch. But in all fairness, a lot of this film can be considered filler. It's really just Michael killing off everyone in the hospital until he gets Laurie alone. Sounds like a shitty Jason movie. But it's not that bad. It can get boring, but some deaths are cool. And this is also where the stupidity of the Myers series comes into play. I'll get onto that more later on, but shit like this... Michael is human! Whatever. An explanation comes, but fuck it, that's the later movie. The ending is very good and leaves you wanting more. I don't get why they used Mr. Sandman as a theme, but whatever. To me, this film isn't bad, it's okay. A lot of problems, but it's still alright. And then the series was to come to an end, which of course was then fucked up the following year when John Carpenter gave us Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Now basically, Carpenter wanted to take the Halloween movies in another direction, away from the Michael Myers character, so we got this film. And this is another movie with a lot of mixed reactions. Some people hate it, some people like it. So this is the 1982 movie, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This film sucks. So Halloween 4... Okay, Halloween 3 is abysmal. I absolutely hate it when people say, and I quote, "People only hate this film because Michael Myers isn't in it, but it is a good film." No, I don't hate this film just because Myers isn't in it. Though that is retarded. That's like having a James Bond movie without James Bond. The story in this film is pathetic. Masks that possess and kill children when they watch an advert? I mean, really? That's just fucking stupid. And it wouldn't be that bad if the villain didn't say,
"Do I need a reason?" Mr. Kupfer was right, you know. I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children.
See, the writers basically admit he wants to kill kids on Halloween. I don't know why, but he does. And why is it called Season of the Witch? There's no witch! The acting is mediocre, the deaths are pretty cool, but good god this is terrible. They even have Halloweens 1 and 2 in this, as a movie. Jamie Lee Curtis also has a cameo, as a voice on a phone and speaker. There's an upgrade in your career. I've seen this film only twice, and the second time was just because I previously reviewed it on my former account. It's very difficult to watch, it's nonsensical, retarded, and just complete crap. It even has the absolute worst ending to a film I have ever seen.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Yeah, a cliffhanger that makes no sense and would never hear from again. So that was again to be the end of the series, but I guess the fans weren't too satisfied with that disaster piece, because in 1988, 10 years after the original film, we got Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. 10 years after the first film, and following the shittiness of Halloween 3, and bringing the Myers character back, this film had some big shoes to fill. I mean, they really had a lot to live up to. And they succeeded with shining colours. This film is amazing. I prefer it to the first film. I actually do. Now, remember, that doesn't necessarily mean I think it's better. I won't bother mentioning the change in the mask because I think that's sad and pathetic. Who cares about the fucking mask, you losers? Whatever. This film is amazing. This one does have its problems though. Several. Let's start with the first mind-boggling one that makes you pull your bloody hair out. The second movie ended with Pleasance setting him and Michael ablaze. Now I can let it slide that Michael survived. Fine. But Donald Pleasance started the fire. If he survived, fine. But Michael is in a coma. Pleasance comes out with a few scars on his face and a bum leg. That's it? Are you freaking kidding me? The old guy who started the fire and would have been in the midst of it all comes out with a few scars and a bum leg. Not only that, when Michael gains consciousness, everyone finds it strange. Listen to this!
Even if by some miracle Michael is conscious, his muscles will be totally useless. Give the troopers a chance to search.
You're talking about him as if he were a human being.
What about Donald Pleasance? He's been awake much longer than Michael, you retards! Good God, that is unbelievably stupid! But moving on. Danielle Harris is an incredible child actress. She shows it more in the sequel, but is awesome in this film nonetheless. The movie is very suspenseful, much like the first, and it really focuses on that. It does get more gory, but it's not like the later sequels which just ruins it. This actually feels like a Halloween film. However, this is where they really went over the top with Michael Myers. They really made him too Jason with this crap. I mean, breaking someone's neck off with one hand? He even teleports onto the back of the fucking truck. If he was holding onto the bottom of the truck during the trip, how did he even get there? He was inside the school when they drove off. Then he gets blasted with machine guns at the end and falls down a mine shaft or something. Just way too invincible for my liking. Like breaking this guy's face. He even kills several people in the house and no one seems to hear. Whatever. It doesn't drag the film down. The ending is a great shocker, but slightly ruined by Donald Pleasance. Donald sometimes is being too over the top. All in all, terrific film and amazing sequel. Then they quickly rushed into a sequel a year later for Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, which is another controversial one. I'll shock you all now. This is my favourite Halloween movie. I'm not sure why, if I'm honest. Now, I thought Halloween 4 was the better sequel, but as a standalone film, I prefer this. But again, that doesn't mean I think this is the best film. The first one is the best film, due to the realism and suspense of it all. The sequel's got stupid with his invincibility, but this is just my personal favourite. Danielle Harris's acting is unbelievable when she becomes mute due to the trauma. Donald Pleasance is still as awesome as ever. Everyone is just back tenfold. New characters aren't good actors, but they aren't that bad either. Even the kid actors aren't terrible. Okay, this little fucker is. The deaths are awesome and so much happens. Sometimes I dislike movies with too many subplots, but some it works in, like Superman 3 in this. It also has a stupid start though. If Michael tried killing this guy after part 4, why would he keep the body? Let's just keep the corpse of a guy who tried to kill me. And surely weeks after Halloween he would have read or heard about the massacre nearby, put 2 and 2 together and realised he's hiding a serial killer. Many think this movie was rushed into production and that was its problem. It made the least amount of money out of all of them, but I don't care. I've even heard some complaints about the fact that Michael has several chances to kill people and doesn't do it. But that's what Michael Myers is all about. He does it in basically every film, even the first most beloved one. He never went straight for the kill. That's Jason's MO. My personal favourite and a damn good watch with another great cliffhanger ending. 6 years later we got Halloween Part 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. This is a tough one to judge, but I'll try my best. Now, Danielle Harris pulled out because she didn't like the way her character died. Or she wanted more money, I've heard both versions. The new actress playing her character was very poorly chosen. She's meant to be playing a 15-year-old and she looks 30. This film is probably the goriest of the original series. It has some serious fucked up shit. Paul Rudd is introduced and his acting is amazing. Donald Pleasance is back looking like he's about to drop dead of natural causes in every scene. One major problem here is Michael. He teleports. A lot. He'll go from a house to a party across town to a car park to another house all within a scene or two. Shit, one body's even found tied by lights in a tree. Are we really meant to envision Michael scaling a tree and tying a corpse up there with no one noticing? We finally get an explanation to Michael's invincibility. Apparently he's been possessed by some cult and the pure evil inside him keeps bringing him back until his entire family is wiped out. Kind of a lame explanation, but at least we finally got one. This movie is definitely watchable and enjoyable with really badass deaths. I think my favourite part is Rudd's acting. I hear a lot of people having issues with it, but how can you? This is my favourite scene.
Tommy?
Unfortunately, Donald Pleasance sadly passed away shortly after the release of this film, so they actually went back and edited in his death. Okay, I understand why they did it, but it just felt weird to do so. And then we go to the 1998 sequel, Halloween H2O, 20 years later. I already reviewed this, so you guys know the drill. But of course, this movie erased 3 through 6, so the explanation to why Michael is invincible, right down the shitter. You know my thoughts, so no point wasting any more breath on this. Great film, great sequel. Then of course it made money, so yet another sequel is in the works. In 2002 we got Halloween Part 8 Resurrection, which is probably the hardest one to comment on thus far. This is also odd because it came out 4 years after H2O, but it's set 3 years after H2O. Why? Jamie Lee Curtis is back and finally gets killed in a great end, which leads to our first problem. Why doesn't Michael go after her son Josh Hartnett? I don't know if Hartnett was approached to be in this and he simply said no, but surely after killing his sister he could go after her son. Also, we find out when Jamie decapitated Michael, it wasn't Michael. Apparently Michael crushed the throat of a paramedic and switched clothes with him, so everyone thought he was Michael Myers. And no one noticed him swapping the clothes. I'm pretty sure that would take a while to do. And if it's not Michael, how come when the guy woke up he got thrown through the windshield and survived, run over and survived, tumbled down a hill, crushed against an ambulance and a tree and survived? Michael Myers steroids. Put on his mask and you can never die. What do you think Chuck Norris uses? Really stupid start. The reality show inside Michael's house I actually thought was a good idea, but it's also stupid. Oh gee, Michael came back after 20 years after an explosion and can seemingly survive anything, but I'm sure he won't come back after 3 years if we go inside his house. Busta Rhymes' character is annoying, some deaths are okay, Sean Patrick Thomas was cool, Thomas Ian Nicholas was cool, the other actors I've never seen were okay. This is just a really hard film to judge. I'm not sure whether it's good or bad. It's like The Little Shop of Horrors. I can watch it and actually enjoy it, but it has its problems. A lot. Other than Part 3, this is definitely the worst one. They even leave an opening for yet another fucking sequel. But instead, we get a remake. In 2007, Rob Zombie decided to remake John Carpenter's masterpiece. Now, upon hearing this, I was sure it was going to suck. I really was not looking forward to it. I figured, how can you remake Halloween? It's such an original film, it doesn't require a remake. I personally find it pointless to remake a movie with so many sequels anyway. But it surprised me. Kind of. Now, it's nowhere near as good as the original. No one expected it to be. This is definitely the toughest one to comment on. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy this film. I did enjoy watching it, but, well, it does really completely disgrace the original. It really does. The original film was all about Michael being mysterious and building suspense. You know, creeping around, scaring people just by staring at them. This film, Michael walks around beating people with a stick and killing people. A lot makes no sense, like why the hell would they have steel cutlery in a psychiatric ward? The backstory to Michael turning evil went on way too long. I like the fact that Zombie did this, but like Superman, it just dragged. I would have given it maybe 10-15 minutes. It went on for maybe even half an hour, maybe even longer. Just show his family being pricks and him being bullied. One scene I'm not even going to show because it's a rape scene. Why does Michael Myers in Halloween require a rape scene? It goes on for ages too until Michael offs them and escapes. Stupid decision, and Rob Zombie's a weirdo. Danielle Harris is back, and that's a very good thing. Obviously she fits the Halloween theme, but she's also unbelievably hot, and she's also a great actress. One thing I didn't like was Malcolm McDowell as Sam Loomis. I know it's a remake and everything, so they can slightly change characters a little, but Loomis is meant to be this over-the-top old guy hyper on sugar. McDowell was a horrible casting choice. I did like the new Laurie. It was more realistic. Instead of having the pure 17-year-old virgin, they had the bitchy teenage whore. But Laurie was supposed to be the innocent 17-year-old virgin. That was the character that John Carpenter had created. Although I enjoyed the new Laurie, it completely ignored what her character was supposed to be. She was a great actress though. One thing I found odd was that Danielle Harris didn't die. Her character died in the first one. How is it a remake if the character doesn't die? Granted, When a Stranger Calls didn't have the kids die in the remake, but the original one was shit, so I let that slide. This film was watchable, but it does shit on the original movie. Halloween isn't supposed to be shock horror, it's meant to be thriller. Rob Zombie raped the Halloween franchise and he must have known it. He didn't remake it, he recreated it. Everything is different, so how is it a remake? He changed the characters, the storylines and the plot. Then Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 came out 2 years later, but much like Superman, that film was so shit. Full review!